that this is a very, very intimate and deeply moving and stirring topic. And we can get high-minded, can't we? Right? We can get pretty like, these are big ideas and get lost and I think overwhelmed by the big idea of creating enlightened society, creating awakening, and so lost in the vastness of this idea and all of our big ideas that we get stuck in terms of the actual fruition of the big ideas. And so I invite us to just take a moment and connect with our hearts in the way that the Sakyong invited us to touch and to come in contact with our own feelings, human beings, and to remember that as great as that idea sounds, as wide and as vast, that it's truly intimate, because it touches us at the level of our heart's yearning, or else we wouldn't be here. Not one of us would be here. And so we can kind of get to hiding, we can get ourselves to hiding and intellectualizing and holding the idea out there somewhere, as if we're just going to come to this conference to talk about these ideas. When actually what's really happening is there is an opening, and we're trying to figure out if we can allow that opening to be greater, to be wider, and if we can do it with other people. We can allow other people to, if we can expose ourselves, if we can be vulnerable in the way that I thought the Sakyong was quite beautifully vulnerable this morning in his talk, and expose ourselves for the hopeful creatures that we are, which is, not really in fashion these days. We don't really expose ourselves. We have the ideas, but we don't actually expose the heart that embodies and expresses those ideas in terms of our action. And so those of us that are part of all manner of, and I like that Meng said, Dharma communities, right? And the expression of Dharma, whether we call it that formally or not, whether we call it Buddhism or religion or spirituality or grassroots organizations, all expressing Dharma, all expressing the universal truth of our basic human goodness, and that aspiration that our basic human goodness is reflected back to us through society. And how heartbreaking it is for us right now to acknowledge that that's not exactly what's happening, that there's a disconnect, that with 30, 40 years of work being done towards these high-minded goals, there's a little sense of, not so much. We haven't quite worked it out. And I think that we should begin with a sense of just forgiveness for any sense of shame or guilt that we're holding anywhere, any little part of us, for not having quite worked it out, not having all the answers. And that's okay. It's a part of it. It's a part of it to be able to acknowledge that we don't have all the answers, and in fact, maybe we don't have any of them. But we're going to show up anyway.